Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. Today we'll go over yesterday's NBA and Stanley Cup playoff results and look ahead to everything going on today. I'll make round 2 series picks for the Stanley Cup playoffs and go over the eliminated teams post-mortem. Major League Baseball, soccer, golf. No golf today. American Idol, the betting portfolio. We'll give out a future. News and notes and best bet. We'll start the NBA playoffs. We'll go over the results from yesterday and looking ahead to the games tonight. 76ers over the Celtics, 119-115 to take a shocking 1-0 series lead in the series. James Harden looked like the James Harden of old from the Rockets. 45 points and 6 assists. Jason Tatum, 39 points in defeat. The reality of the situation is nobody outside of Tatum Brown and Malcolm Brogdon stepped up for Boston. And James Harden was just out of his mind with a turn-back performance. So I was right about the over, but I was way wrong about who would win this game. As yours truly has a Sixers to win the title future, the news has been trying to hedge. And heck, I might have to bet on the Sixers to hedge the Celtics series bet I made. And now Philly can get away with Joel missing game 2. If I'm Philly, don't rush Embiid to come back. You already stole a game. Now there's no pressure on Philly and Embiid now. And then the Nuggets beat the Suns 97-87 to take a 2-0 series lead. A very impressive win for Denver. Nikola Jokic, 39 points, 16 boards. He was incredible. Devin Booker, 35 with 6 assists in defeat for the Suns. 2 games tonight. Game 2, Heat Knicks, 7:30 TNT. Iron Eagle, Jim Jackson, presumptively on the call. And they deserve to be on the call. And the fact that Iron Eagle's on this game is absolutely brilliant. My line with everybody healthy is Knicks 3.5, total 223 and 11/20. No Butler, I have it Knicks 8.5. No Butler or Randall, I would make it Knicks by 6. Jimmy Butler plays, but no Randall, I have it Knicks by 1. And Jalen Brunson is questionable too. Let's say if Randall or Brunson do not play, and that makes it Heat by 3. But if it's just Brunson that misses, it's a half. And what if it's Brunson and Butler out? That would make it Knicks 4.5. And if all 3 are out, it's Knicks by 2. So the only way Miami's favored here is if Brunson is out but not Butler. And Randall at that point is irrelevant when it comes to that situation. So I think the most likely outcome is that Randall and Butler both sit, and it would be Knicks by 6. And then right now, FanDuel has this at New York by 6.5, total 206.5. I still like the over a lot. I think that Miami's offense and New York's offense will be better. I think there's going to be adjustments made. This is a must-win for New York. I think New York wins unless Jalen Brunson does not play. And Jimmy Butler does. But the latter part might not even be true if Brunson doesn't play. If Brunson plays, New York will win. We'll put it that way. But if Butler doesn't play, New York should win too. But to me, Brunson would be a bigger loss than Butler almost. But the Randall thing's irrelevant if Jimmy Butler doesn't play. So I'm going to say Knicks win game 2 to even up the series at 1 apiece. It'd be a much-needed win for them. But for the game, I'll take the over for the pick. And at 10 o'clock TNT, Game 1 of the Dream Series between the Lakers and the Warriors, LeBron versus Curry. My line's the same line I would have had for a possible Game 1 on Sunday, and that's Warriors by 3. Total would have been different because the Warriors played a Game 7. The total I have 233 and 1920, and it's 4.5 and 228. I love the over here, amazingly enough. I really do. I think that Curry's going to go off. I like this Laker offense. I think they're deep. And it's going to be a really fun series. I think if the Lakers win Game 1, the Warriors still can win the series. And I feel the same way. If the Warriors win Game 1, the Lakers can still win the series. So that is very, very open series, I think, in terms of who's going to win and whatnot. It was the toughest series for me to pick. I did pick the Warriors in 7, as I mentioned on the show yesterday. But I'm going to give out another over. And at gunpoint, I think Golden State wins Game 1 in an absolute classic. And obviously, it's going to be Brian Anderson and Stan Van Gundy on the call for this game. All right, now move on to the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll go over last night's result, do a postmortem for the losing team, and then make the picks for round 2, including the team that advanced. And that team that advanced was the New Jersey Devils, who get a 4-0 win over the New York Rangers and continue the trend that we've been seeing in the Stanley Cup playoffs of the new blood moving on. We saw the Devils beat the Rangers. We've seen the Leafs beat the Lightning. We saw the Kraken upset the Avs, and we saw the Panthers upset the Bruins. And those 4 teams that all lost in the first round in the Lightning, Rangers, Bruins, and Avalanche is all stunning if you think about it, that all 4 of them are out because they all had chances to win the Cup this year, and all of them lost in round 1. But I know the Avs had the injury excuse for Landeskog, but they still could have went on a run, in my opinion. So Devils win the series. They deserve to win the series. They were faster, and they were underestimated by a lot of people other than in Las Vegas, who had the Devils as the favorite in the series. The number 3 started the game with the first goal of the game, Michael McLeod. Number 2 started the game with 2 assists. Andre Palat, who made an incredible assist on that first goal. And the number 1 started the game with the shutout. With 31 saves on 31 shots, Akira Schmid. So the Devils making that goalie change, I think, made a big difference in the series. The Devils are just faster. And they wore the Rangers down. And they deserve to win the series. And for the Rangers, such a big playoff failure disappointment. This is probably the biggest disappointment this Rangers team has had in the postseason, probably in over 5 years. I want to say when they lost to Ottawa in round 2 in 2017. This is the most disappointing series loss since then. And obviously, this one hurts a lot because it's a rival in New Jersey who's up and coming. So yeah, Rangers season failure, probably the biggest failure season in the Metropolitan Division, not in the Eastern Conference because of Boston, and arguably Tampa too, who was in the finals the last 3 years, but certainly the biggest failure in the Metro Division in terms of teams that made the playoffs. I think that the Rangers may make a coaching change. I think that is certainly in play because Gerard Gallant, there's a reason why he was fired in Florida and in Vegas. And it was stunning when he was fired in both spots, and it wasn't long after the good years he had with those 2 respective teams that he was fired from those other teams. So I wouldn't be completely stunned if Gerard Gallant is fired because of the series loss. I think that the team is going to regret trading for Patrick Kane and potentially Vladimir Tarasenko if they don't re-sign him. They shouldn't re-sign Kane. I think a big lesson learned, not just with the Rangers, but in all of sports, is that sometimes trading for the big star doesn't make a difference. Trading for Tarasenko and Kane did not make a difference this season. It was the same old Rangers that would crap the bed in certain spots in the playoffs, just like old times. And another example of this in sports is the Yankees trading from Giancarlo Stanton. Nothing freaking changed. The Yankees still don't hit in the playoffs, even though they went out and got Stanton years ago. The Rangers, same thing with the Rangers. They get Kane and Tarasenko. Nothing changed. And they're lucky they didn't give up a lot for those two players either. And the other example that I think is worth watching, but last night may have shut me up on this one, is James Harden with the Sixers. Nothing changed unless the Sixers win the title. And another example of this, John Tavares Maple Leafs. If they don't make the finals this year, same goddamn thing. Signing John Tavares, are we sure that really made a difference for the Maple Leafs? I mean, I know they finally won a series this year, but in the past it really didn't. And the other one, that's an absolute hot take. They're down 0-2 right now. Same old story with the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant really hasn't made that big of a difference. I'm sorry. Sometimes training for the big names doesn't always mean auto success. Rangers, Phoenix Suns, like Sixers, potentially if they lose this Boston series, which I think they still will. So yeah, the Rangers should learn a lesson from their same city in the Yankees and down 95 to Philadelphia, and with their original six of counterpart Maple Leafs, and all these other examples of trading for big names doesn't always work. When was the last time that really worked? Kevin Durant, Golden State, was the last time bringing in a big name player actually worked. But then again, who knows if the Warriors even are what they became if Kevin Durant didn't go there. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. So that's kind of a what if there. And then the other thing with the Rangers is that they were too reliant on their top six, which really didn't perform in the series at all. Artemi Panarin was MIA. Mika Zibanejad was MIA. Chris Kreider was only the power play deflection and specialist. And their power play was MIA in this whole series, and that's a big reason why they lost the series. I mean, if they won Game 3, they would have won in 6. I understand that. But that's playoff hockey sometimes. And the Rangers are lucky in a way because Boston lost in round 1, so they're not considered the biggest flop of the playoffs. But it is also a missed opportunity for the Rangers because Boston lost, Tampa lost, Colorado lost, and they failed to take advantage. And now this opens the door up for a certain team that's still in it, that's in a significant drought, to finally break the drought in the Toronto Maple Leafs. If the Toronto Maple Leafs don't win the Eastern Conference, they should be ashamed, and they should also make a coaching change. Because it's all set up for them. Carolina's injured. The Devils are the hot new toy. And Florida won't be an easy out for Toronto, but Florida does have a lot of talent on their team. And it does open up the door for some of these West teams to make a run. It opens the door for Vegas to get back to the final. It opens the door for the Dallas Stars to get back to the final. Or maybe new blood like the Kraken can make a surprise run. Or Edmonton finally breaks through with Connor McDavid. So all the pressure's on Edmonton and Toronto to go on some big runs. And even Vegas has some pressure on them as well. And that said, let's make these round series, these second round series picks. And one last thing on the Rangers. I think that obviously I mentioned how they should have played their kids more. That's the case. But those kids aren't great. They're not Jack Hughes. There's a reason why they're third-line players. If they felt so good about these players and they'd be producing, then maybe they don't make the trades for Kane and Tarasenko. Just saying. So, round 2, it begins tonight. So the series picks. We'll start with the Devils, the team that eliminated the Rangers. They'll face the Carolina Hurricanes in the Metro Division side of the bracket. Best player in the series, Jack Hughes, no doubt about it. He was the best player other than Akira Schmid in the Rangers series. He had a breakaway in Game 7, which Shesterkin stopped. So Jack Hughes, best player in the series. Coaching advantage. This season, I think Lindy Ruff has had a better year than Ron Bindamore. But Ron Bindamore, in general, is just a better coach. Storyline of the series, can Carolina continue to play well despite some key injuries? I really think the key injuries could come back and bite Carolina at some point in the playoffs. I thought they were in round 1, but I was wrong. Maybe it's this series, maybe it's not. Goalie advantage. From an experience standpoint, Antti Ranta, but right now, it's Schmidt. The change to Schmidt is a big reason why the Devils came back from 2-0 and won the series against the Rangers. So right now Schmidt, but in general, Ranta. So a pick for the series. Alrighty. I'm gonna go big here. I'm going to lay a half unit per pick. I'm going to go New Jersey in 6. That is plus 410. And New Jersey's favored in this series, and they deserve to be favored. Carolina has way too many injuries. I knew the winner of last night's game was going to be favored over Carolina. And good for New Jersey. They deserve to be favored here. And that is the favorite outcome. Devils in 6 at plus 410. And then Canes in 7 at plus 440. Devils in 7 plus 490. Canes in 6 plus 570. Canes in 5 plus 630. And it goes on. So, Devils in 6 plus 410. I'm laying a half unit on it. All right, next up, Maple Leafs Panthers. All right, Leafs are minus 176. The Panthers are plus 142. Best player in the series, Austin Matthews. Matt Tkachuk might have something to say about that, but Austin Matthews, to me, is still the best guy in the series. He's a franchise player. He finally won a playoff series. And so have the Leafs for the first time since 2004. The coaching advantage. This is a hard one. Paul Maurice, I think, has done a nice job rallying the troops with Florida. And Sheldon Keefe deserves credit for helping the Leafs and out-coaching John Cooper in the previous round. But I do think that Paul Maurice has the coaching advantage over Sheldon Keefe in general, although I think Keefe has had a better season. Storyline of the series, can the Leafs finally go to the conference finals? A ton of pressures on the Leafs, and the other story is, can the Panthers continue to play with house money? I know they're not as big as an underdog as they were against Boston, but it still feels like a house money situation for the Panthers, who were essentially the 8 seed here. And Toronto, all the pressure's on them to win the East and potentially win the Cup. And my pick for the series, I'm going with the Leafs in 6. And by the way, goalie advantage, I would say Florida with Sergei Bobrovsky over Ilya Samsonov in Toronto. And I think Samsonov could be the reason Toronto loses the series. But I think their offensive firepower will prevail. So I'm going with the Maple Leafs 4-2 at plus 440. And the favorite outcome is Leafs in 5 at plus 430. Or no, Leafs in 7 at plus 410. Then it's Leafs in 5 plus 440. Leafs in 6 plus 440. Panthers in 6 plus 540. Panthers in 7 plus 590. And it goes from there. So my pick is going to be Maple Leafs 4-2 at plus 440. All right, to the West. Kraken Stars. The Stars are minus 194. The Kraken are plus 156. Best player in the series. This is a hard one. But are we sure it's not Jason Robertson, who's had a fantastic season for the Dallas Stars this year? I would say it's him. Coaching advantage. I would say Pete DeBoer over Dave Hextall. Although Dave Hextall, you could argue, had a better season than DeBoer because the Kraken made the playoffs as an expansion team in year 2. So you could argue Hextall had a better season. But Pete DeBoer, to me, has the coaching advantage. He made a Stanley Cup final. Dave Hextall is not. If I'm not mistaken, DeBoer made 2 finals. One with the Sharks and one with the Devils. Goalie advantage has to be... that's a hard one. Ottinger versus Grubauer. Obviously, Grubauer was with the Avs. Then came over to the Kraken. And he had playoff experience with the Avs and the Capitals in the past. And he was obviously the Stanley Cup winning goaltender for the Caps, which makes sense. And he was actually the backup. Never mind, it was Holtby that won the cup. And then Grubauer just played for Holtby because Holtby got benched. So Grubauer does have a Stanley Cup ring. And Ottinger really came onto the scene in the playoffs last year. So I'm going to give the edge to Grubauer based on experience. Story of the series. Can the Kraken keep going? Could they go on a surprising run? We talked about a bunch of big giants getting knocked out, especially in the East. The big giant in the West, who is the reigning champs. So we'll see. And then my pick for the series, I'm going to go with the Dallas Stars in 6 games. That is plus 420. The favorite outcome is Dallas in 5 and 7 at plus 390. And then Dallas in 6 at plus 420. Then Kraken in 6 at plus 590. Kraken in 7 plus 680. Dallas 4-0 plus 820. Then Kraken 4-1 plus 980 again. And it gets weird. So my pick for the series is going to be Dallas 4-2 at plus 420. And last but not least, Vegas, Edmonton. Best player in the series, Connor McDavid. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's amazing. He's the best player in hockey. He's been the best player in hockey for over 5 years now. Although you could argue Sidney Crosby was still the best player in, say, 2017 because they won back-to-back cups. But pretty much since 18, I think McDavid has had the mantle of best player in the league. The goaltending advantage. I really think that Stuart Skinner really isn't the answer. I don't think he was very good against the Kings, and I think his offense bailed him out. So I'm going to give the edge right now to Laurent Brossoit, who I think's been really solid for Vegas, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs as well. So I'm going to give Laurent Brossoit the edge over Stuart Skinner. Coaching advantage. Come on, it's Bruce Cassidy. I think that he's done a great job in year one in Vegas. He had a good tenure in Boston. And Jake Woodcroft, I know, excuse me, that Jay Woodcroft got his team to the conference finals last year after taking over from the fired Dave Tippett. But Bruce Cassidy has experience and has made a final. Jay Woodcroft came close, but it was no cigar. Story of the series. Can the role players of Edmonton step up again? I know they stepped up against LA, but LA is a weaker team and had inexperienced goaltending as well. So that's what potentially made the Oilers look better than they were. All right, so the series price here. Edmonton's favored -152. That's because of two players and not the whole team. And Vegas is +124. This is going to be my upset. I'm going with Vegas at +124. And in series correct score, I'm going to go Vegas in 7 games at +490. The favorite outcome is Edmonton at 6 at +370. Then Edmonton in 7 and Vegas in 7 are each +490. Edmonton in 5 is +520. Vegas in 6 is +630. Vegas 5 is +730. Then it gets weird. So I'm going to go Vegas in 7 at +490 for my series pick. And now my picks for tonight's games. 7 o'clock tonight, you have the Panthers and the Maple Leafs on ESPN. The Leafs are -170. Panthers are +140. Over under 6.5. Overs -122. Unders even money. Panthers +1.5 is -164. Lightning Leafs -1.5 is +136. For this one, I'm going to go over 3.5 Leafs goals at -118. And then 9:30 ESPN Kraken Stars Game 1. Stars -182. Kraken +150. Over under 5.5. Overs +104. There's -128. Kraken +1.5 is -172. Stars -1.5 is +142. For this one, I'm going to say there will be overtime, yes, at +330. All right, now move on to baseball. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to a busier slate for today. Braves over the Mets 9-8, Game 1. Game 2 doubleheader, Mets over the Braves 5-3. Cubs over the Nats 5-1. Guardians over the Yankees 3-2. Red Sox over the Blue Jays 6-5. Astros over the Giants 7-3. Padres over the Reds 8-3, so best bet 1. And Dodgers over the Phillies 13-4. All right, tonight's game, 6:30, you have the Braves at the Marlins. Bryce Edler and Sandy Alcantara. Marlins -126, Braves +108, over under 7.5. Braves +1.5 is -205. Marlins -1.5 is +168, so 7.5 is -10 each way. I'm going with the Braves straight up at +108. I love Alcantara, but hasn't been good this year so far. Mets Tigers. Joey Lucchesi, and Michael Lorenzen. So, a must series and game for the Mets. Mets minus 156. The Tigers plus 132. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 118. Unders minus 104. Mets minus 1.5 is plus 105. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 126. For this one, I'm going to go with over 4.5 Met runs, minus 112. Pirates Rays, Ronci Contreras and Javi Guerrera. The game's not posted yet, but I'm actually going to pick Pittsburgh to win straight up in this game. 7 o'clock, you have the Guardians at the Yankees. Tanner Beebe and Garrett Cole. Ooh, good pitching matchup. Yanks minus 168, Guardians plus 142, over under 7. Overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 156. Yankees minus 1.5 is plus 130. I love the under. 2 good pitchers, Eagles and under. Cubs Nats, Hayden Wesneski and Trevor Williams. Cubs minus 142, Nats plus 120, over under 8.5. Overs minus 122, unders even money. Cubs minus 1.5 is plus 118. Nats plus 1.5 is minus 142. I kind of like the Nats here to win straight up at plus 120. Twins White Sox, Joe Ryan and Michael Kopech. Twins minus 164, White Sox plus 138, over under 9, minus 110 each way. Twins minus 1.5 is minus 106. White Sox plus 1.5 is minus 113. It's crazy that the run line is that crazy. For this one, I'm going to go with under 3.5 White Sox runs at plus 102. The White Sox have not been a fun team to watch this year. On TBS, you have the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. Bob Costas on the call. Most likely, Yusei Kikuchi and Tanner Houck. Boston is an underdog, plus 110. Toronto's favorite, minus 130, over under 9.5. Overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Boston minus, or plus 1.5 is minus 152. Toronto minus 1.5 is plus 126. I'm going full game over 9.5 and minus 105. 7:30, Orioles Royals. Tyler Wells and Ryan Yarbrough. O's minus 156, Royals plus 132, over under 9, overs even money, unders minus 122. Orioles minus 1.5 is plus 102, Royals plus 1.5 is minus 122. I'm going to take, let's see if the pick I want to make is good. No. I'm going to go with the interesting pick at under 3.5 Royals runs at plus 102. Angels Cardinals at 7:45. Patrick Sandoval and Steven Matz. Cards minus 132. Angels plus 112. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 118. Unders minus 104. Angels plus 1.5 is minus 188. Cards minus 1.5 is plus 155. I'm going with the Angels straight up as an underdog, plus 112. 8 o'clock, D-backs Rangers. Zach Gallen, John Gray. D-backs minus 146, Rangers plus 124, over under 8, overs minus 102, and there's minus 120. D-backs minus 1.5 is plus 126, Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 152. So for this one, I'm going to go with, this is a hard one. I'm going to go with over 8 minus 102. Don't feel good about it, though. Giants, Astros, Anthony DeSclafani, Hunter Brown. Astros minus 180, Giants plus 152, over under 8, overs minus 1, unders minus 112. Giants plus 1.5 is minus 134. Astros minus 1.5 is plus 112. Full game under. Brewers, Rockies at 8:30, Freddie Peralta and Ryan Feltner. Brewers minus 162, Rockies plus 136, over under 11, overs minus 115, unders minus 105. Brewers minus 1.5 is minus 105. Rockies plus 1.5 is minus 114. Full game under. That's crazy. 11. 9:30 Mariners A's. Bryce Miller making his season debut against Mason Miller. So the Miller Bowl. Mariners minus 144. A's plus 122, over under 8, minus 110 each way. Mariners minus 1.5 is plus 116. A's plus 1.5 is minus 140. Because of the unknown with Miller, I'm I'm going to go over 3.5 Oakland runs at minus 102. I don't feel super about that bet, but it's a bet I'm willing to make. Reds Padres, Graham Ashcraft and Michael Wacha. Padres minus 198, Reds plus 166, over under 8.5, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Reds plus 1.5 is minus 130, Padres minus 1.5 is plus 108. I'm taking the Reds straight up at plus 166. Graham Ashcraft has been really good this year. And at 10 o'clock, you have the Phils and the Dodgers on ESPN Plus, Matt Strahm and Julio Urias. Dodgers minus 158, Phils plus 134, over under 8, overs even money, unders minus 122. Phils plus 1.5 is minus 150, Dodgers minus 1.5 is plus 125. So for this one, I think Matt Strahm is just due for like a flop. So I'm going to go over 4 Dodger runs at minus 118. All right, now move on to soccer. We'll go over some notable results, and we have some big soccer tonight, CONCACAF, which we'll get to. English Premier League. Leicester Everton 2-2 draw. And then today, 3 o'clock, you have Arsenal and Chelsea. Chelsea's in a major slide. And I can't emphasize the word major enough. Arsenal's favored minus 185. Chelsea's 5-1. The draw's plus 330. For this one, I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at plus 114. All right, next. We have La Liga. Mallorca and Athletic 1-1 draw. Girona over Sevilla 2-0. Today, 1:30, you have Almeria and Elche. Almeria is minus 175. Elche is plus 410. And the draw is 3-1. For this one, I'm going to go over 3.5 goals at plus 146. Barcelona, Osasuna. Barcelona is minus 700. Osasuna 16-1. The draw 6-1. Osasuna's actually been pretty good. I think the draw 6-1 is pretty valuable. And 4 o'clock, you have Real Sociedad and Real Madrid. Sociedad's favorite plus 150. Madrid's plus 180. Draws plus 30. I can't go against Madrid. I'm going to go Madrid at plus 180. All right, French League 1 today. 3 o'clock, you have Toulouse and Lens. So, Lens is a favorite at minus 175 on the road. Toulouse is plus 410. The draw's plus 320. Toulouse is playing great, too. I'm actually going to take the upset at home at plus 410. And then English League Championship from yesterday. Rotherham over Borough 1-0 and Blackburn Luton 1-1 draw. And Dutch Eredivisie you won't see until Friday. And now the CONCACAF Champions League, big one tonight. 10 o'clock, you have the Philadelphia Union at LAFC tied on aggregates. That ended in a 1-1 draw last Wednesday. So the funny thing is it's not considered MLS. It's actually considered CONCACAF. LAFC's favored at minus 165. The Union's plus 380. The draw's plus 290. I think that place is going to be rocking. I do. And tie breaking on aggregate. And if the aggregate score is tied after 2 legs, various methods can be used to break ties. Under the away goals rule, the team who scored more away goals advances. If away goals are equal or are not considered a tie, may be decided by extra time and or a penalty shootout. I think we might see a penalty shootout. I really like the draw at plus 290. But I also like under 2.5 goals at minus 102. I really do. So, I could see LAFC winning 2-0. But I also could see this being a 1-1 draw. And then the tiebreaker happens. So, I'm going to go with the draw plus 290. But at gunpoint, I think LAFC moves on. I think the Union blew their opportunity to steal the game at Subaru Park last Wednesday. So I'm going to say LAFC advances, but it's going to be a draw plus 290. So it's going to be similar to the MLS Cup final. Maybe it goes to the kicks and then McCarthy gets it done again. Let's see. Any other soccer that we must hit? All right, so the DFB Pokal, 2:45 today. Freiburg and RP Leipzig, so we do have German soccer today. Freiburg's plus 230, Leipzig's plus 105, the draw's plus 230. Freiburg's been playing great. And they're home. I'm going to take them as a home underdog at plus 230. So that's it among notable soccer. Now we're going to recap last night's episode of American Idol. It's one of my favorite ones they do every year, and that's the Judge's Choice songs. The top 10. First up went Zachariah. His song choices were Crocodile Rock by Elton John, Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi, and Ain't Too Proud to Beg by The Temptations. He went with Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi. And it turned out to be Lionel's pick. And I think Zachariah did a nice job. Then came Haven. Her choices were The Only Exception by Paramore, River by Bishop Briggs, and Cause I Love You by Lizzo. She went with The Only Exception by Paramore, who was picked by Katy Perry. Then Chase Beckham performed his new single, Till the Day I Die. I think he did a good job, and obviously Beckham was the season 19 winner of American Idol. Weani, her 3 songs, Don't Watch Me Cry by Georgia Smith, I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston, and I Try by Macy Gray. She went with I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston. So the first 3 singers that sang, I think, went with the best fits for them, or what I felt were the best fits for them of the 3 songs they were given. And it turns out that Luke Bryan picked her song. Oliver Steele went next. His songs were Heartbreak Warfare by John Mayer, Bigger Than My Body by John Mayer, and High and Dry by Radiohead. And he went with High and Dry by Radiohead, and it was picked by none other than Katy Perry. Then after the commercial break, there is a big announcement. Lionel and Katy will be in the UK next week, so they will not be in studio, but they'll be live from UK. Replacing them next week is Alanis Morissette, who will also be a mentor, and Ed Sheeran. And they showed the contestants' reaction when they found out that Ed Sheeran was going to be showing up to be a guest judge on American Idol. Warren P. went next. His song choices were Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd, Colder Weather by the Zac Brown Band, and Blue Side of the Mountain by the Seal Drivers. He performed Colder Weather by Zac Brown Band. He was outstanding. It's funny, when I saw the list of songs, I said up Freebird, but he went with Colder Weather. He went with his style, and it turned out that Lionel picked that song for him. Then came Ian Tungi. His choices were What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong, Consider Me by Alan Stone, and More Than Words by Extreme. He was going to go with More Than Words, but he went with What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. It was the right pick, and that was the song I felt was best for him. And it was picked by none other than Luke Bryan. Mary Beth Bird. Her songs were Wasted on You by Morgan Wallen, Here You Come Again, Dolly Parton, and Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue by Crystal Gale. She went with Wasted on You by Morgan Wallen. I think she should have went with Here You Come Again by Dolly Parton. I thought Dolly Parton fitted her better. I thought she seemed nervous in the Morgan Wallen song. And she had that deer in the headlights look, which isn't great. And it turned out that Lionel picked the Morgan Wallen song. So how about Lionel picking 2 country songs for Warren and Mary Beth respectively? And you would have thought those would have been Luke's picks. Of course, I thought that too. Next up was Tyson Venegas. His song choices were When I Was Your Man by Bruno Mars, Someone Like You by Adele, and Someone You Loved by Louis Capaldi. I think all 3 of those songs would have fit Tyson well, but he went with the last one, Someone You Loved by Louis Capaldi. I think he did a great job. And it turned out that Katie picked Tyson's song. Next up was Megan Danielle. Her 3 songs, Go Rest High on the Mountain by Vince Gill, Rescue Story by Zach Williams, and Make You Feel My Love by Bob Dylan. She went with Go Rest High on That Mountain by Vince Gill. Emotional performance for her because she performed that song at her grandfather's funeral. So it was just meant to be for her. And it's funny, I thought she should have sang Make You Feel My Love by Bob Dylan, but I was proven wrong. Go Rest High on That Mountain was the right pick for her. And Luke Bryan picked that song for her, and she gave Luke a big hug. And last to go was Colin Stow. His songs were Till You Can't by Cody Johnson, Starting Over by Chris Stapleton, and It's Been a While by Stain. And I thought he should have went with Till You Can't by Cody Johnson, but he went with It's Been a While by Stain, which he performed it well. Turned out that Katie was correct, which means the final score was 4-3-3 Katie. So Katie wins the Judge's Choice Songs contest with the most songs picked by the contestants. All right. So the performers that were safe. Megan Danielle, Haven Madison, Zachariah Smith, Warren P., Wiani, Ian Tongi, Colin Stow, and then the bottom 3 were Tyson Venegas, Mary Beth Bird, and Oliver Steele. And the winner of the Judges Song Choice contest of the judges got to pick which contestant got to stay. And Katie chose Oliver Steele. And then sending Mary Beth Bird and Tyson Venegas home. I think it's disappointing that Tyson went home. I think Tyson had so much potential. I think he performed his song very well. And now you gotta wonder, what if he picked Someone Like You and went outside the box and went with Adele? Or if he went with Bruno, what could have happened? And the funny thing is that Katie picked Oliver's song, and she picked Tyson's song. I think Oliver's in trouble next episode for sure. I feel bad for Tyson. I don't think he deserved to go home. Mary Beth Bird, I thought, wasn't good. She was clearly scared. She had the deer in the headlights look. And Oliver, I just think, went with the wrong song choice, but Katie had other ideas. He would have been voted off had Tyson been the choice, and I think it should have been Tyson. So, Idol loses a good one with Tyson. And I thought Tyson was one of the favorites to win. And now I'd say the favorite to win it all is either Ian Tongi or Wiani. I bet that's the final 2 if you're asking me right now. I think that is your final 2. All right, so that's it for Idol. Now we'll do my portfolio. So we're going to hit something tonight, and it might be a big one with Joel Embiid winning the MVP. Everyone knows I got that at plus 850 back in January, and I laid a whole unit on it. So that would be go down as one of my bigger wins ever. So the portfolio today might be a doozy. I'm going to go with a long shot Major League Baseball division winner. All right, so the nominees for the pick. The Cleveland Guardians plus 240 to win the AL Central. The Baltimore Orioles at 17-1 to win the AL East. The Texas Rangers or the Seattle Mariners at plus 550 to win the AL West. The Pittsburgh Pirates at 6-1 to win the NL Central. The Cubs at 5-1 to win the NL Central. The Phillies at 7-1 with Bryce Harper coming back tonight to win the NL East. And the Padres at only plus 145 to win the NL West. So a lot has changed from the start of the year, except the Dodgers are still favored to win the NL West. And the Astros are still favored to win the AL West. The Rays are now favored to win the AL East at minus 140. That's courtesy of their good start. The Yankees are down to plus 420. And to make the playoffs and to miss the playoffs, I want to see what Yankees to make the playoffs no is. I'd love to see that right now. Because they were talking about it on You Better You Bet. Nick Costos and Ken Barkley were last week. But it's not even up there. Is that a sign that they're changing it, or say they still don't think that's likely? That's weird that that's not there. But I'm not making that my pick. But I just think it's interesting to throw out there. So I'm going with the long shot pick for a division winner for the portfolio. This particular team is several games back in the division, but they're plus 13 run differential. They're a dominant home team. They're only 5 back in the loss column of the Rays. Or no, my bad. They're 3 back in the loss column of the Rays. Plus 25 run differential. I was looking at the wrong team. They're only 3.5 back in first place. They're really good at home and on the road. I'm going with the Baltimore Orioles at 17-1. I'm going to lay a half unit on it. 17-1, the Baltimore Orioles to win the AL East. That is great value for a team that's only 3.5 back in the division. Maybe they go out and make a big trade or something like that. And even the Red Sox at 40-1 is decent value if you think that they'll stay over 500. But I really do like that Orioles pick at 17-1. All right, now I'll move on to the news and notes for today. So we have another interested individual in the Ottawa Senators. Snoop Dogg. Could you imagine? I think the Ryan Reynolds group would be better. But Snoop Dogg, come on. That would be crazy. The Calgary Flames fired Darryl Sutter after 3 seasons. I hate to say this, but I'm not completely stunned. This was a team that many picked to go to the Stanley Cup Final this year, including yours truly, and they badly underachieved. They didn't even make the playoffs. Could you imagine how they're feeling right now with all these big hitters out, especially in the East, and the West is wide open? Calgary, if they got in the tournament, could have made some damage and could have gone on a run. The New Jersey Devils social media team kept the receipts and even took Liam Neeson down with them. And good for the Devils. Those teams that overachieve deserve to be the ones trolling. Talk about something that is obvious. Nikola Jokic says he has zero interest in tonight's winner announcement for the MVP. He knows it's Joel. He knows. That's what tells me. He knows that Joel Embiid's winning this award. Draymond Green sounds off on Domantas Sabonis. He said he lost a lot of respect for Domantas Sabonis when he didn't shake hands with him after Game 7. Domantas Sabonis had a terrible series against the Warriors. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. He was a poor sport by not shaking Draymond's hand. Of course you're supposed to shake hands with your opponent. Like, that's just respect. And then Steph Curry told teammates to stay home if they were in their emotions after their Game 6 loss. So Steph Curry with an inspiring speech to get that team going in Game 7. Chris Paul left the game against the Nuggets due to a groin injury in the second half. Made a difference. The Suns had the lead in that game, and then the Nuggets came back. We mentioned Joel Embiid missed Game 1. He'll probably miss Game 2 too, and I would sit him Game 2 now that Philly won that game. All right, so questionable for Game 2 tonight for the Knicks are Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. It's Brunson sore ankle, Randle sprained knee. Brunson has to play, and I don't think Randle should play if Jimmy Butler doesn't play. If Jimmy Butler plays, then I think Randle has to come back. So it's up to Jimmy. But if I'm the Heat, I sit Jimmy. Because say he plays again, he gets hurt, and then you lose Game 2. So just take the L in Game 2, sit Jimmy. You have until Saturday. And if you're the Knicks, sit Randle. And you can win without Randle, especially if Butler's not playing. And let's say the Knicks bounce back even without Randle. Obi Toppin plays better. A lot of the other support guys play better, and they win Game 2. And then Jimmy Butler posted a picture of walking on the injured ankle. That's not great. And then there's growing doubt league-wide about the Grizzlies' desire to re-sign Dillon Brooks, and rightfully so. Dillon Brooks is an immature kid. He's a good basketball player, but he's not a good kid. He refused to speak to the media. He got fined. He hides from under the cover when he makes silly comments about the one he made about LeBron. So, yeah. And then, obviously, Butler questionable for the sprained right ankle. All right, San Jose State lands former Oregon State forward Glenn Taylor Jr., averaging over 11 points, over 3 boards, and over 2 assists for the Beavers last season. So a good pickup for San Jose State, who I felt overachieved last year in college basketball. All right, some football news. Jordan Love earns a new deal, 1-year contract extension worth $22.5 million with $13.5 million guaranteed. This is another classic example of paying somebody that you think that they're going to be rather than past performance. And to think that Jordan Love was picked in I want to say it was 2019 they picked him, which is insane. Or no, 2020 they picked Jordan Love. And now he finally gets to start in year 3. He learned under Rodgers. So we'll see. Giants pick up Andrew Thomas's option. Will remain under contract through 2024 season. And rightfully so. Taylor Lewan sues doctors as the former Titans left tackle claims 2020 ACL surgery was done improperly. Oof. Cardinals decline Isaiah Simmons' 5th-year option. Not surprising, he's not lived up to the hype. Major League Baseball player Cannon Smith-Njigba shared some words of encouragement after his brother Jackson was drafted by the Seahawks. Baseball news, inevitable. Yankees place Aaron Judge on the 10-day injured list with right hip strain. It's a 10-day, not the 15-day, which is Not the worst thing in the world for the Yankees. They clearly missed him. They've lost every game since he got hurt. And he got hurt in the game. They won the game they got hurt against Minnesota. And then the game they got pulled and they won that game. Well, they won that game because Garrett Cole pitched. And they actually scored more than 3 runs for once. And so I don't think we'll see Aaron Judge back until the middle of May. But I don't know if the injury list stint is retroactive. It should be. I assume it is. So if you ask me when we're going to see Aaron Judge, I'm going to say around like May 15th. If he's not back before Memorial Day, the Yankees are screwed. And they might be screwed already, but they need him back before Memorial Day. And if they're over 500 Memorial Day, it's a win. But the thing that's not in their favor is that the Rays got off to that great start. Well, that's because they played all shit teams. And they're going to probably take advantage of the Yankees' injuries over the weekend. And the Toronto's living up to the hype after a somewhat of a slow start. So the Rays thing doesn't work in the Yankees' favor. And Toronto taking 2 out of 3 is not the best thing in the world for them either. When they took 2 out of 3 from them in Yankee Stadium, I'm referring to. Fernando Tatis Jr. gets a standing ovation as he took the field at Petco Park for the first time all year. Ronald Acuna hit a monster home run at Citi Field, and the Braves just admired the home run. And then Acuna leaves in the first inning of the doubleheader after getting hit by a pitch in the shoulder. That's just dumb by the Mets. Absolutely freaking dumb by the Mets. They did that because of that home run and how they were so enamored over it. Sometimes teams are just stupid like that and don't show any respect. But at the same time, they would say, oh, maybe if you didn't admire your home runs so much. And of course, it's Acuna, too, who has let's face it, a bad reputation of getting benched for things like not hustling and like stupid shit that he did, like admiring the home run. And now he's hurt, and now he's probably going on the injured list, and it'll be a big loss for the Braves and for somebody else in that division. Maybe even the Mets, to take advantage as he's day-to-day. But the good news is that he avoided the fracture. We talked about Bryce Harper coming back for the Phillies. 6 months after Tommy John surgery, he's going to be DHing tonight against the Dodgers. Let's be honest, the Phillies did this out of desperation because they're 15-15. I mean, if they weren't 15-15, if they had a better record, I think they would have let Bryce take his time. But I just think that they're desperate. And how about this? The Dodgers never made Trey Turner a formal contract offer after hitting free agency. That's insane. That's organizational malpractice. And now you lost him, and you might not win your division or make the playoffs because you don't have him. And then really fun news, Serena Williams announces on Instagram that she is expecting her second child. Congratulations to Serena Williams. And hopefully she is doing okay in post-tennis life. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. There's some interesting ones on the board. And for this one, I'm going to lay a half unit on. And the pick that I like the most is the under 11.5 or under 11 in Rockies Brewers. I'm going to lay a half unit on it because I don't feel super about it. And I think that the Brewers can win this game like 7-2 and still win the bet. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, looking ahead to everything tomorrow. We have a new golf tournament to discuss. Masked Singer and Survivor tomorrow too, so that should be a lot of fun. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.